Every 15 minutes when my blood pressure cup would go off, he would check my vitals. And I remember thinking he was getting a little too close for comfort, you know.
So when this half-brother came to live with us, my parents decided that he should room with me. So that created, I guess, access and the opportunity.
He shot me up with some more morphine, which I didn't know he was gonna do. And he closed the curtain, he dimmed the lights, closed the door, and he put a wash rag over my eyes.
So here's the scary part. Their mothers, their fathers, their uncles, their priests, their coaches, their the neighbor. There's the guy that you might think is creepy or the guy that you would never think would harm a fly.
Then I felt something down in my private parts, something moist, you know, wet. And I kind of was laying down and I looked under the washcloth and I seen his head down there.
It just, escalates to where, he's touching me, he's masturbating, and you go from a happy-go-lucky kid to, someone who's been, taken advantage of, and, you have certain ways of coping.
We had a little relationship turmoil, and I said, Andre, this isn't working out. And he just said, look, this is at the core of why this isn't working out. Here's what's really transpired in my life, and I want to finally let you in.
I don't think men right now are identified as really being at risk for sexual abuse. And so I think that there's a lot of isolation in that.
I mean, you're just trying to survive junior high school. The last thing you want to do is just ostracize yourself as the kid who got abused by his half-brother, and, this is late 80s, try to be a, man's man and whatever, the society is expecting men to be.
So if something happens, they feel that there must be something wrong with them, they must be alone, there must be no one else who has ever experienced this, therefore they must be to blame for what happened, and just a lot of fear that if they were to talk with someone about this, that they will get only negative reactions.
You know what? I just got up, I said, what the hell are you doing? I ripped off everything and I went to the doctor. And I told the doc, it's not you. But I just was, sexually assaulted by a nurse.
Somebody that might have gotten mugged or beat up, there's not a lot of questions about what they did wrong. For somebody who's been sexually assaulted, there's a lot of stigma and there's a lot of questions about what that person was doing wrong or what they did to cause that.
Well, it was your fault, you should have said something. Not believing me, saying that perhaps I was, at the time, a homosexual, just being not believed and being held responsible for what happened by not saying anything earlier. So let's just not talk about it, move forward.
I hear often, more often than not, is that there's just this deep secret. And if you think about it, there's this significant experience that they're dealing with all by themselves, that they feel utterly alone in, and that they're keeping away from everyone. And I think sometimes the longer you don't talk about it, the more you feel like you can't talk about it, but it doesn't mean that it's not there weighing on you, still popping up when you have a memory that's related to what happened, and then feeling more and more isolated.
They were making me feel like I shouldn't have said nothing, say anything. Because I guess men don't tell police that they got sexually assaulted.
Men are expected not only to protect themselves, but to protect women and children. And to have a male that's been sexually abused is almost like they're losing some of their maleness or masculinity because they were sexually abused, when that's not the case at all.
If a man has been abused, then he has this idea that he's weak. And so he doesn't, that hard exterior is an attempt to show the rest of the world, including those closest to him, that he's not weak. But it also prevents us from being close.
How, as your life moves forward, do you take a chance again and trust a teacher, trust someone that comes into your life that wants to be with you, for example, a potential partner or spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And so for a lot of the young people I work with, they are unable to make that full commitment to another person for very understandable reasons, because their trust has been betrayed.
Sometimes when we start talking about what happened, the anger and the grief and the pain does come forth, but it is part of the healing process.
Just taking the first step is, I think in this case, probably one of the harder steps to take, for sure. You know, it's been inside of you, you know, churning in there for a long time. So it's, you know, you've done your best to either hide it or not ever mention it. So opening up that Pandora's box, so to speak, is very difficult.
It might be like a wound, right? I might be riding my bike and take a nasty spill, and the wound itself might hurt a lot, but then there's also the cleaning out of the wound, and that's necessary for healing.
Many men, either as children, as adolescents, or as adult men, have had experiences of sexual violence. So they're not alone. There are people that you can talk to, and they are really caring people, compassionate people. So there is support there when you're ready to access that support, as scary as it is. And yes, it will be scary.
I like to tell people that I'm so sorry that it happened, because I am. And that's probably something that they're not going to hear from the offender. If
you say this happened, then it happened. And I always ask, are you comfortable sharing more about that? And I will often say, you know, I don't want you to feel pressured in any way, but just know this is a safe place.
I know now why they don't come out and, you know, say they got sexually assaulted. They get ridiculed, they get teased. A lot of people don't believe them. And believe it or not, my friends, some of my close friends, doesn't believe it. A lot of times I felt like I shouldn't have said nothing, because I was ashamed.
There's no shame in what somebody else did to him. There's no shame in somebody else's terrible behavior that got acted out upon him. I would hope that it helps him feel better able to breathe, to feel like I'm not alone. This does happen. There is hope. I'm not going to be judged. I'm not going to be persecuted. Nobody's going to think lesser of me because I told this.
It was hard to come out and to tell my family what happened and stuff. But I'm glad I did it. I really am. There's no other way I would have gone about it.
It wasn't my fault. You know, it happens. It doesn't define who I am. You know, I can be a survivor, but I'm not only a survivor. You know, I'm a husband, father, advocate. You know, I'm not just defined by this abuse that happened so long ago.
Seeking therapy was foundational to us having a healthy marriage, deciding to have family, to bring our daughter into the world. I'm certain that those things wouldn't have happened without help.
It's never too late. I think, you know, once you can finally disclose, you know, it's really going to open up some new doors into a new just part of your life. It's going to be hard. It's probably going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. And just know that there are people out there who've done it before and who support you, and you know, you're not alone.
It's really rough at first, but it just gets better and better. But that first initial reaching out to seek help is a huge step, but it gets better and better and better.